So the question is, how could a loving God send people to hell? And while we're on the topic, what is hell? When I say the word hell, I'm assuming every single person that's watching this video has some type of picture or image in their head of what hell is. Let's just ask this question. Does the idea of there being a hell make sense? And I would answer yes. Now, I am not talking about the doctrine of hell because I enjoy so, or I like thinking about it, or something like that. It's because I've seen a wave online of people who are rejecting the doctrine of hell or morphing it into meaning something else. And I think when we look at scripture in context and within the Christian tradition, hell begins to make much more sense when we understand the nature of God and the nature of man. But maybe you're a Christian and you do accept the doctrine of hell, but you are still left scratching your head, and it's kind of a tough one for you to answer when somebody brings up the hell topic. And so you believe it, you accept the doctrine, but you're like, I don't really know how to make sense of this in a meaningful and engaging way with people. Okay, let's dive into what hell is. Now, I'm not going to be diving into every single passage that Jesus references hell or what the Hebrew or Greek means or anything like that. We're going to talk about how hell actually just makes sense first, and we're going to do so kind of at a 30,000 foot level. So for this video, I want to define hell as this. Hell is the separation from God. The tragedy of hell is not that God gets some joy out of sending people there and he does so with a smile on his face. No, in fact, that's not true at all. God doesn't want people to go to hell, and he actually sent his son to die for the world, that whoever would believe would not perish. The real tragedy of hell is that people willingly want it. Deep down, people don't want God, and therefore God gives people what they want. Hell is ultimately God honoring our decision to have an identity and a life apart from him. So sometimes people get this idea that hell is this torture chamber where God is there and he's waterboarding people or something like that. And it's just ridiculous. And of course, hell is not pleasant or anything like that, but that's more of a cultural 21st century idea of what hell is, and there's no nuance there. Okay, so keeping in mind that hell is separation from God, as we just talked about a minute ago, I have a lamp that's plugged in right here, and if I unplug the lamp from the outlet being its source of power and therefore its source of light, then obviously it's going to be dark. And if I'm not willing to plug in the light to the outlet, I can't be mad at the light for producing darkness versus producing light. In other words, if God is the source of life, if we choose not to have a life and an identity that is found in him, then God will honor that desire. The genius and the master, C.S. Lewis, said something I love, and I'm paraphrasing it, but here's essentially what it is. To those who don't believe in the doctrine of hell, here is a question. What are you asking God to do? To wipe out past sins and give them a fresh start. He did that at the cross. To forgive them, but they don't ask for forgiveness. To leave them alone. That's exactly what hell is. Here is the good news. You are not more merciful and you're not more just than God. He is a perfect, merciful, and just judge. And sometimes people act like they would be a better judge than God. Like they're going to be more loving and merciful than God, and they're going to be more just than God, and it's just not true. We do not know the condition and the depths of the human heart. We can't look at somebody and know what's deep down inside of them. Only God can do that, right? We look at the external, God looks at the internal. And God will judge everyone perfectly, and he will always do the right thing. And in that, as Christians, we get to trust that God does love the world and he's going to handle everything rightly, and he's the judge and we are not. Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. If you want to connect more with me on social media or wherever, you can click the link in the description. And if you would like to subscribe to my brand new newsletter, I talk about ministry and theology and resources. You can do so by clicking the link below in the description as well.